Reading has brought a great deal to my life.
When you learn especially about where they came from and what they have been through to get us to where we are, it's really quite amazing.
And he had a wonderful way with words, and he had a good sense of humor. And whenever I got obstreperous, he wouldn't say calm yourself, he'd say clam yourself.
Hello and welcome to Elder Wisdom Stories from the Green Bench. Thanks for joining us today. We have a really great show today that's going to be full of laughs and full of wisdom. On behalf of my co-host, Evelyn Brindle, we are going to be welcoming Bette Reynolds, or everyone's favorite granny. And you're going to find out why she's everyone's favorite granny during this podcast. Good morning, Evelyn.
Good morning to everyone. It's a beautiful day here today, and I hope everyone will enjoy the podcast we have for them this morning. It's quite an interesting program, I think, because Bette is really an interesting and very humorous old lady, I should say, but not really old at heart.
Evelyn, be nice. Mind. She's not going to talk to us if you're like that. And let's introduce Bette officially. Bette Reynolds is a TikTok sensation. She is on TikTok at Bette Reynolds. She's on Instagram at Granny Reynolds, and the other social media channel we're all jumping from Twitter. Reynolds_Bette. So welcome this morning, Bette. We're so pleased to have you with us.
Oh, thank you. I'm so pleased to be here.
So, Bette, I know your son, Brittle Star Stewart, is a big social media star. So let's start at the beginning. How did you get involved with TikTok?
Well, through my son and our grandsons, his son, and making funny videos is, to me, just living everyday life with me. You know, anybody that came to our home used to say, you can make a sitcom in here with you guys.
And then you did.
Yeah, so it was easy. I love to laugh, you know, and I don't mind acting it out. So I was really happy when they said, would you like to make one? And it was like, sure. You know, I'm game for anything. That's awesome. And that's how I get started. And they just set me up in the different platforms. So it's all to them.
And it seems your life philosophy is you have two choices: be miserable or laugh at something. So this is not a new sort of way of living for you, is it, Bette?
No, it's not. I don't like to think I'm a philosopher, but my philosophy is, again, you have two choices. You know, you can sit down and cry, or you can have fun. You have a choice. It may be harder to do the fun, but you have a choice, and I choose to look at the positive side. You know, as you know, we're going through some health things, and like my husband and I, but it's let's find the humor in this, and that's what takes me through. You know?
Comedy seems to run in your family.
Oh, yes. Very, very much so. In fact, they would never let me near a live broadcast because they weren't sure what I was going to say. But now they've started to trust me a bit, so I must be maturing.
Oh, that happens to us a lot these days, yes. I noticed, too, in a lot of your podcasts, there's music rapping on Drake's songs with bagpipes. How did that happen?
I did a lot of, parodies of Drake's stuff. And then that happened. It's a funny story, actually, when I think about it. Britain's Got Talent got in touch with Stewart and said, well, you know, would your mum come to the show? Not to be a contestant, but just to come out to perform this. And could she do a certain length of his parodies, and that's how we put a lot of them together. And I don't know how, I must have been younger a couple of years ago, but I actually remembered all those lines. There was no cuts, no nothing. It was constant. And we went down to our park and we did that. And then Stuart says to the producer, yeah, we have got it. But you do realise that we live in Canada. And he went, no. But your mum's accent is, and a lot of the BBC used to call me, and I said, well, I live in Canada. No. Your accent's so strong and you've lived there 50 odd years. And I went, well, yes, but why get rid of a good thing?
Exactly.
So we never heard from them after that. But and that's how the bagpipes one came about. It was all Drake's bits of his songs.
Now, Bet, you put out a lot of TikTok videos and different things on social media. Do you ever get haters, and what do you do about that?
Yeah, you'll always get the people, that want to take a pot shot at you. You can read them if you want, but you can usually in the first line you go, oh no, forget it. Not worth my time. Away you go. Sorry, you're having a bad day, So we just don't bother, and that's been right from the beginning. It's like, yeah, you're going to get people that are just not happy people and just like to moan on about everything. But just look at the first line, you'll tell, and then just move on. Do not bother reading them. It's a waste of your time.
Don't engage the trolls. We know that
Yeah,
for sure.
for sure. Do not.
Are there some ideas that either you have or your son or grandson has where one of you goes, oh no, that's not a good idea? How do you come up with something that you're all really happy with?
That used to happen a lot when I'd say, what about this? And they'd just look at them and I'd say, well, I guess that's a bad idea. Then I'll go, oh no, no, no. And I'd say, well, that seems funny to me. And they went, yeah, to you. But they have to, my generation, there's things that I may say that I think are okay and have said for decades, but now you can't. And I find it quite interesting that, so anything I think of, even when I'm going to send a tweet or a thread or whatever, I will run it past them first because I don't know whose toes I'm stepping on anymore. It's like, yeah, well, it was okay saying that 10, 20 years ago, but you can't say that now, Mum.
Absolutely. Language evolves, right? With us. And I think that's a great idea. I check some things with my kids too before I put them out.
Yeah. Because, they're the teacher. I'm the student now. And I love learning. I love to learn something new every day. And I have to keep up with my family, so I have to keep learning.
That's very true. I think for all of us at this age, we're always learning something new, and especially from our grandchildren. They're really good sources of information, particularly when we're dealing with technology or things like TikTok and so on. They show us how to get on, and it's fun discussing that with them because it's one of the things we can talk to them about.
But, you can, then what they're talking about and you can join in the conversation.
Honestly, my oldest grandson is only 3.5, and my daughter won't let him on social media, so he's got to step up. I'm not learning anything from him. Quite sad,
You will. What do your grandkids think about your postings, and do they listen to them?
Oh, yeah. And at first, it was, oh my goodness, what's Granny doing now? And now they show all their friends. Of course, they're at universities and they show all their friends, and they go, oh yeah, my friend so-and-so is now following you. Oh yeah, my friend's following you on this. And and it makes me feel proud, actually, that I can communicate in that level with them.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, there's a basis that you've got to associate with them in their, grandma's hip,
Yeah, I'm the
right?
cool grandma.
Yeah.
I thought I was a
Uh,
cool grandma. Never
Beck,
mind. There you
Okay.
go. You're the cool one.
Sorry, you have to earn it.
Darn it.
I read that you were also a classically trained singer. Um, yeah. What did you do with that? Did you perform anywhere, or do you use? I know you use some of that in your posts
Yeah,
these
I
days.
did. We had a teacher come to our high school who had a choir, a hand-picked choir of young girls, 120 actually, 60 in the age 6 to 12, and then 60 and the 12 up to 22, I think it was, 23. And she came in the classroom and went up and down the aisle and said, okay, stop, and tapped me on the shoulder. You stand up, sing this. So I did that. And after that, she took me and she trained me. And I went into her choir in Glasgow. And she took me to Glasgow Cathedral to hear some other brilliant, brilliant singers. And that's how I was classically trained with her. Now, we left Scotland when I was, no, I got married at 19. Yeah, 20. We left Scotland. So when I came here, what I did was sing a lot in church. And then people would ask me to sing at weddings and then other functions going on. And I'd say, yes, And actually, one of my directors came. I was singing a Christmas Eve, first Christmas Eve we were here at our church. And one of the directors was there with his family, and then I met him in the hall. I sang "Oh Holy Night," which I'd never heard in Scotland. I just thought it was beautiful. Met him in the hallway, and he said, "How come you sing like that and talk the way you do?" And I said, I don't know,
Uh,
but then, yeah, it was I had to learn to say no because I'd have been out every night doing it. But yeah, I'm more of a classical. I tend to go with the more modern gospel. I like that. Ballads, I like. But yeah, that was my classical training, breathing, everything like that.
Great.
And
Yes.
met that
To
teacher in Ottawa. Many years later, she had her choir over. And Stuart Senior said,
Wonderful.
Mum, you got to come, there's a lady down here with a choir and they've all got kilts on. And I was looking, I could see the ankle going. I said, that's Hoey. He said, what? I said, that's Miss Hoey. And I met her after they did their concert. He said, Miss Hoey, and Miss Hoey, she says, Ms. Hoey. He said, well, I think you taught my wife. And she said, who? And he said my name. And she went, oh, my goodness. So I've got a lovely photograph of her at that open-air Rideau Mall of her and I and a couple of the girls. So I did meet her.
Yeah. It's a small world, isn't it?
Totally.
Have you a lot of followers from Scotland, Beth?
Yes. A
Yeah.
lot of followers in Britain. Yeah.
Oh, nice, nice. And
Yeah.
what do they think of what you're doing over here?
Oh, well, of course, as I told you, it's original Granny OG, the OG. And it's like, yeah. Also, in the States, I just remember that the one thing and the one parody I did on Drake, Ryan Seacrest put it out.
Wow.
That he says, this this senior lady does Drake better than Drake does himself.
I believe it.
And in the British papers, they said, what was it? Wasn't senior citizen, pensioner, old age pensioner. And I said, who are they calling an old age pensioner? Yeah, they had met that down. Oh, yeah, it was when I was doing them, it was very much so. Everybody knew, and even my cousins, they were texting saying, oh my goodness, Bet, you're crazy. And I went, yeah, thank you.
It's clear that you've had some great adventures with social media. What about for people listening in, people my age, your age, listening in and saying, "Well, I'm a little bit hesitant maybe to, be a creator or a content provider on social media." What has it brought to you, and why would you sort of suggest that others might want to try it?
Well, we've always been performing
Sounds like
families.
it.
Yeah, we've always been. So, I mean, first time I sang in front of about 500 people. I was 7. My
Wow.
dad's one brother made me a microphone, and I sang uh, 2 Everly Brothers songs, and uh, I just stood there and sang. And when I'd go to church with my mum, the people round about would say, "Stand her up in the pew so we can hear her." And I would be about 5. So it was like being on a stage is just like home to me. Doesn't frighten me. I get excited, but it doesn't frighten me. And it's the same with Stuart Jr. and his boys. You just seem to feel at home, and I think that helped me to get in. And I've done some musicals, and that helps, if you've been in that area. So it's uh, much more easy to do things like that. I would say the basic thing is I'm not afraid to make a fool of myself. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, if you laugh at it, I'm fine with it, you know. But it may be harder for other people.
Yeah, and if we just take a step back, I'm sort of sitting here thinking maybe some of our listeners don't actually know what TikTok is or what an influencer on TikTok is. Can you give us a little primer?
TikTok, well, good TikToks. There are some that are just, you look at, no, you don't want to watch that. But there are some really good TikToks that, like, people get on there and give you all sorts of hints on how to do stuff. I like that. You can learn a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of stuff that's just, no, you don't need to watch it. It's maybe okay for somebody else, but not for you. And being the influencer there, of course, the kids always orchestrate it for me and I play it out. That, yeah, I don't know. It's just a natural, I feel it's just a natural fit for me, but it's not for everybody.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right when you get onto TikTok. I mean, the things that you watch, the algorithm will show you more things to watch in that. So you can watch cooking and baking, or you can watch things, you're right, that other people wouldn't want to watch. So you have to be careful for sure on social media in terms of what you're generating. And what I love about your content is it's very family friendly. So if
Yeah.
somebody comes across it by mistake, so to speak, or probably on purpose, it's going to be okay for anyone around them to listen to.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Yeah, I have no time for, as I call it, all stupid stuff. Don't waste people's time if you're going to do that. But I like to try, and if I'm going to do anything, as you say, like doing the videos with our son Stuart Brittlestar, like the video we did, the fall prevention. You know, I'm
Mhm.
just in my element, with that, and he's shaking his head sometimes, when I'm talking back to him, and that I love doing because I think that's interesting for a lot of people, you know. Uh,
Is there anyone in particular that you follow on TikTok or
oh,
Instagram?
I'm kind of,
Any
I,
favorite?
I'm very, I'm very picky. Of course, when you do get a lot of followers, I don't know, I don't know all these people. I'm choosy on TikTok because there's a lot of, as you say, trolls out there. And for instance, on even Facebook, uh, I had a celebrity, send a friend request. There's absolutely no information on the site, so it's not that celebrity. Um, you get a lot of the trolls there, but there's a lot of men will come on to my sites and say hi. You don't know me, but I so enjoy. And it's like, nope, don't waste my time. You just completely block them.
Dude, just slide into your DMs. Are they
Yeah,
bad?
yeah. Like, come on. There's a 75-year-old lady here.
I was just going to say, it sounds like besides the obvious pleasure that you get out of sharing on TikTok, it sounds like it's been a really fantastic bonding experience with your son and your grandson as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and our granddaughter, she'll say, "Oh, Granny, what have you been up to?" And I'll say, "Oh, nothing."
Oh, nothing, just 37,000 followers on TikTok, are watching me do
Yeah,
this. It's fine.
it's yeah. No, they're really. I think probably in the beginning, at the age they were at, which were middle teenagers, and they must have been going, "Oh." But I'll tell you one one proud moment was when our youngest Gregor was graduating from, was it grade 8? Yeah. And we went, and he was valedictorian, and he stood up and he said, "Well, everyone knows my OG granny." She's in the house, like, it was, yes. That was really cool. He acknowledged me, and
Yes.
it was even cooler because my doctor was sitting in front of me. She was sitting there going, clapping, So, yeah, it makes me proud. I've had many, many proud moments, and it is through working with them on social media. We did the Zellers commercial, and Owen was on sound, and Gregor was on camera, and his dad and I and Shannon was standing by there with, keeping us all right. And there was a producer watching Gregor with the camera. But how many people get to do that?
It's a wonderful
Yeah.
moment and to share with all of them. Yes. Also, Bet, I'm curious. A lot of us seniors have reluctance to go on to social media or to have anything to do with technology alone. I've seen quite a lot of that. How would you encourage them, or why would you encourage them to go on to social media, TikTok or Instagram, for example?
I would, and that's a certain type of person too. Some people are just not accepting of doing a change like that. But I think if they're shown, just how to navigate it, and the simplest way is definitely, because you can boggle their mind with all this stuff, but show them how to navigate it. It opens up, to me, it opens up a big new world, and you're not just in your own little bubble, and there's so many interesting things that you can learn on social media. Right through,
Oh,
from
yes.
Facebook to Instagram, and it used to be Twitter, now Threads and TikTok. There's so many interesting things, and it actually is easy once you get to know how to navigate them. And it can be fun just trying, because even young people are saying, "Well, I don't like to try, I feel I'm making a fool of myself." Well, that's fine. Just keep trying it until you get it. And I guess that goes the same way for seniors. If you feel you want to do it, you should go ahead and try and do it. Get someone to show you how to do it, and then just keep on. And then you never know, you may find yourself, you're right on there and people can see what you've got to offer. And you probably, like, people have got a lot to offer in all different subjects.
That's true. That's true. I found that it was a good connection with my
Absolutely.
grandchildren. Uh, yeah, because I'd always ask them for some help, and how do I do this, or where do I find that kind of thing, and it was a good way to
It is,
communicate
and I
with
think
them.
that's because you too, Evelyn, have an open mind, you know, and
True.
I'm very open-minded. Like, teach me something, I'm ready. I'll be a good student.
I was just going to say, and besides them teaching you things, research has shown that ageism is often fought when there's a good relationship between grandkids and grandparents, because the grandkids recognize and see that grandparents can do things as well, can learn things, are viable humans still, that we can learn and we can get things done. So in your own way, Bet, thank you for fighting ageism on behalf of all of us.
I'll keep trying.
Yes, would you?
Yeah.
You're doing a great job,
Oh, thank you
Beth.
so
Keep
much,
it up.
and so are you guys. This is awesome.
Comedy is obviously a theme that runs through all of your TikTok videos, as well as your son and et cetera. And so, why is comedy so important in dealing with life? Why is it that you revert to comedy so often?
It's the age-old thing. If you can get one person to laugh, that's great. But there's so many people that, especially nowadays, there's so many people hurting with all different things. And if you can give them a few minutes where they can actually laugh out loud, it makes them feel so much better, and it makes us feel really good too. It's just the most, to me, it's a precious thing if you can say something and somebody laughs, and you see their smile and you go, that's it. That's what I love doing. I love doing that. I love seeing that it can brighten somebody's day that may be having a really bad day, and even when we're having a bad day, we prefer to put a smile on, and just say something funny. But so, yeah, it's just the fact that you can get someone to listen to you and actually laugh, that you're saying something to brighten their day, is a big one for me.
Yeah, it's an escape, isn't it?
Yeah.
Escape, because the world is a pretty serious place right
It
now.
is,
So it's a
yeah.
lovely escape.
And for young people too, it's really. So I guess I'm well known like downtown, and I have always been in groups of younger people, which probably keeps me going too, But as Evelyn says, grandchildren, like I'm right up there with them. I want to know everything that they're doing. And they're the same. They check in with me, how you doing, Granny? How's Papa? So I'm proud of that. Very proud of the three of them. We have a good relationship, and that's great.
And that's important.
Beth, do you get recognized in public?
Oh, yeah.
That's so fun.
Here in Stratford, I'm the little blonde lady with the Scottish accent, It's like I was going through the parking lot the one time, and the one boy went, "Granny?" And it's like, no, you're not one of mine, but yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hi, yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, it's pretty good. It's cool when you go into a store and they say, are you the lady that does the videos? Yeah, that's me.
Which has been your favorite video to do? Is that like picking your favorite child? I don't know.
Yeah,
But which
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think everyone, I put my heart and soul into and see the funny side. So I couldn't pick a favorite one. They're all favorites, just like the grandchildren. They're all favorites.
Well, that's good you said that, since they're probably listening to
Yeah.
this, right? Yeah. Do you think you'll ever meet Drake? And what do you think he'd say about? Have you had any recognition from him or his people at all?
No. Ryan Seacrest was the closest to it, but well, as I said before, never say never. You never know. If it happened, I'd be running there going, yes, here I am.
Being in Stratford, of course, you've had, may not have had the opportunity, but you can follow in the footsteps of Justin Bieber, right?
I can step up on his step at the Avon Theatre.
Yes, been there a lot
yeah.
of times, and it's a famous step.
Well,
that's
Listen,
true.
I've been to the Justin Bieber Museum exhibit
There
as
you
well
go.
in Stratford. So, Bet, I want to see your exhibit there next, please, so I can get a picture with your cutout. Well, it sounds like you're always learning and trying new things. Have you learned anything about yourself, Bet, through all your social media expertise?
Learned about myself. Yeah, I think I've learned that, yeah, I could sit back and say, oh, I don't know if I can do that. Oh, I don't know. I've learned now that when the kids ask, I'll say, fine, I'll do it. If you think I can and I'm not going to embarrass you, I will do it. So I've found that I can do a lot more things uh, than I thought I could. Like, would put myself, through, as long as it's okay with them and I'm not embarrassing anybody. But yeah, I think I found I've got more strength than what I thought I had. And that's a biggie at my age.
I'm sure you've inspired a lot of our regular audience listeners to look at social media, but we also have, besides the, Schlegel Villages people and people sort of that are a bit older, we also get a lot of younger listeners because they're listening to family members and getting advice. So what advice would you have for any of our younger listeners? Do you have any wisdom to pass on? We like to look at elder wisdom on this program.
Wisdom. My kids would laugh at that. But anyway, I am a wise old lady, Yeah, I think between young people and their parents and grandparents, it's a two-way street to listen to each other, and to take notes, because maybe younger people at that time are going, I don't know what my parents or my grandparents are talking about it, but trust me, further down the road, it will come back and you'll say, I remember my grandparents telling me that. I remember my parents telling me that. I watch now my children and I see the things that they used to cringe when I would say to them, and they're saying the same things, So I always say, just take it, store it at the back of the filing cabinet, because at some time you may be able to open the drawer and bring it forward again. So wisdom is taking younger people, take everything in, that your elders have got to give you, because we have lived quite a life. We've seen a lot. We've seen a lot of changes. I am now realizing that I used to think that was just my grandparents, but I have seen so many changes in my life that you would never have thought was possible, but it is. So
That's amazing advice. And I feel like through this, through your social media experience, you've had the opportunity to share stories
yeah,
with your son and your grandson that you might not have otherwise.
yeah, it's amazing the stories when I start speaking with them. Like, I have to stop myself because I'm finding now I have so many interesting stories of my childhood that, like not having a bathroom inside, having to go into a what we call the landing and share it with other 3 families, and it was just a toilet. I mean, that's just amazing to me how far I have come in my life. Like that. To me, it's amazing. And the kids, they just take it into, they're like, wow. And I said, yep, so don't be grumbling.
Well, that's why
Oh,
you're
yes.
everyone's favorite granny.
Oh,
So that we've been listening to you. If we want to watch your TikTok videos, we can go to Bet Reynolds. We can find you on Instagram at Granny Reynolds. Thank you so much for coming on Elder Wisdom Stories from the Green Bench today. I know we got a lot of wisdom out of you and a lot of laughs. So I thank you very much.
oh,
On behalf of Evelyn and myself, thank you.
well, thank you all very much for having me. And it was indeed a pleasure. And it was my first podcast. So I am no longer a virgin.
Well, you're gonna have to come on my other radio show and podcast now, of course, that on Zoomer Radio. I'll be calling you, Stuart.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us again on The Green Bench. On behalf of my co-host Evelyn Brindle, we're so happy to share these stories of elder wisdom brought to you by Schlegel Villages. We'd love to have you subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already done so, but we'd also love to hear your words of wisdom on social media. Please do using the hashtag ElderWisdom, which will also help others to find us on this green bench. We do love a review and a rating on the podcast. You can easily find it by going to elderwisdom.ca and following the link. Take a look at the Elder Wisdom Pledge Against Ageism while you're there, and please think about signing it. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Kathy Buckworth, and along with Evelyn Brindle, we look forward to sharing some more elder wisdom with you on the next episode of Stories from the Green Bench.
Elder Wisdom, Stories from the Green Bench, is brought to you by Schlegel Villages, a complete continuum of care, offering independent living to long-term care, celebrating and honoring the wisdom of the elder. To learn more about us, please go to our website, schlegelvillages.com.